No, it's go. Yeah, now we are.
All right. Well, you're listening to Aver's #1 radio talk show, Average Rants, here at KNMC
90.1
FM.
Ow. I got sunburn, man.
Oh, I was just gonna say, did you hurt yourself? Are you so old that you just
No,
hurt
man.
yourself scratching your back?
I was sleeping or sitting around on the tube on the lake and got a little warm.
Well, don't fall asleep.
I didn't fall asleep. I was awake, but still.
I guess I got talking so much before we got on here, I didn't even open up the community calendar.
CIR?
Yeah, I'm lazy.
There's a Saturday market.
There is a Saturday market.
Every Saturday.
Until, I guess the last one is during festivals.
Sure. I have no idea.
I think that's what it is.
This is your area?
Oh, because I was there last.
No, I mean the community announcements.
There's a lot of stuff happening at the Haver swimming pool. I suggest if you're interested in swimming stuff,
check it out.
Yeah, check them out. What else do we got here? We've got where's the Stone Child College?
It's in Rockywood.
Oh, okay. They are doing a Wednesday market. So that would be on the 3rd. And this starts, well, it says 5 a.m. Pretty early. I mean, I guess you work in the morning, so you probably might get up at 5.
I get up at 5:30, but yeah.
My uptime is 7. And that's just because I can.
Right.
I don't have to.
There's something going on the. Oh, it's next Saturday. It's a kids shoot. My wife would. If you're listening, Amanda, tell me what it is because I can't remember what it's called. But anyway,
like a target shooting.
Yeah, you go up. It's for kids to learn safety, gun safety, and stuff like that. I think
To learn gun safety and shoot.
I don't think they shoot the real guns.
Okay.
It was for 14 and under, so some might shoot.
Oh yeah, maybe 14s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's up at the Haver Trap Club next week, 11 to 4. You can go up and have lunch, get your face painted.
So you do know.
I don't know what it's called.
Oh, what it's called. Okay.
It's got turkey in it.
Turkey shoot?
Something like that. Haver Youth Turkey Shoot or something like that. At the anyway, you might take the kids. It's something to do on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. And let's see, we've got Matt Theater is putting on Happily Never Before. That's going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, starting at 7 p.m. So if you want something to do there, go do that.
Mm-hmm.
And at least on my end, that's pretty much it. The library is always doing stuff.
Or you can stay in your house so you don't walk outside and burst into flames.
Yeah, today was weird. Yesterday, I didn't find it was too bad. I mean, because we were down there, but the breeze was kind of nice at the market, and we were under a tree.
It's called the Milk River Gobblers Youth Day.
Oh, there you go.
They're holding their Youth Day on August 6th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Haver Trap Club. Bring your kids to the fun. Free family event for kids 14 and under. There will be face painting, demonstrations by Haver's Police Department Canine Unit. That stuff is cool. Nothing like watching a dog rip a dude's arm off.
I didn't even know we had it.
We do. So does the Border Patrol. Anyway, archery demonstration, free lunch, trap shooting, weather permitting, a balloon shoot for the kids. Check it out. Looks like it'd be a lot of fun. You got the same thing that I did.
Yeah, I noticed. I just didn't want to say anything.
Anyway. But yeah, it's hot. Oh.
It is. My raspberries were looking thirsty.
Right. So my wife found you a job.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, I've done male modeling, but
Yeah, you got fired immediately. And this is probably why. You could get paid to eat candy. We got you down.
I'm listening.
As a Canadian company, it's getting better, isn't it?
Yeah.
Chief Candy Officer. Canada's Candy Funhouse is hiring a Chief Candy Officer. The Ontario-based company getting even better. You're from Ontario,
It's my home.
right? Right? Said the position pays $100,000 annually.
You better have good diabetes insurance.
The job can be remote, dude, or based in Canada or in New Jersey offices. The chief candy officer will serve as a head taste tester and try over. This is where it might get you. 3,500 pieces of candy a month. 3,500 products a month.
No problem.
Nailed it. It's 100,000 Canadian, which is 78,000.
Okay, well, just because we're on the topic there of money, there's one thing that people still have to remember.
You eat candy for free.
Now, if you make $100,000 in the United States and you make $100,000 in Canada, the conversion is different, yes, but it's only different if you go to the other country.
Right.
If you stay in the country you're in, it's about the same.
So if you were working for this country, they'd send you get paid 100,000 American.
Yeah, I would actually have to. So I have 2 addresses because I have to have an address that if we ever got deported, we could go back to.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just my parents' house. We choose my parents' house, and
They might let you live in the backyard or something.
well, it just has to be an address.
I mean, they'll let your daughter live with him, but I doubt they'd let you back in.
Yeah, maybe. But so I would apply to that job using that address probably, and because I can work in Canada, I'm Canadian.
You just get your money dumped into that account.
It would just get dumped in like a direct deposit.
Yeah. See, dude, try it. You would eat roughly 113 pieces of candy a day.
I know you're looking at me like that, but I mean, one thing about if you're testing, you're not supposed to swallow.
Well, that's hard for me.
Yeah, I know.
Like when somebody hands you a cookie, you go, "Hey, taste this."
Yeah, but if I gave
Do you just taste it and spit it out?
if I gave you like 50 cookies and then said, "Well, here, now try this one," and you're like, "Oh, please no," right? So that's what you do. It's like wine tasting. You put it in your mouth, you taste it, and then you spit it out. So I would probably eat a bunch and then go, "Wait, maybe I shouldn't do this because this is how you get diabetes."
I'm gonna die. No, just figure, you can apply, man.
Oh boy, I can't say it on the radio, but that's what Sammy said for your comment.
Yeah, so that's colorful language coming from a lady.
Right. She gets it from me.
Right. It's all right. It's even better when your kid says it. You're like,
I found that if your kid says something and you don't react to it, they don't do it again.
yeah. You're
If-
just like,
if you're like, what? Then
you're just like, oh no. In the context they can do it, and it's funny.
yeah.
Because they can almost mimic the context, because they mimic the context they've seen it in, right?
Yep.
So Kingston, he was playing, I don't know, this was a while. He was in the car and he dropped a toy and he went blankety blank. And I'm like, 3 times. I was like, oh my no. Yeah.
But now, I mean, my daughter's at the age where when people say bad words, she points it out.
Right.
Says you're not supposed
You're not
to say
supposed to
that.
say that, right? Oh.
I'm hoping that we can just raise her where I don't really care when people use swear words as long as they're not directed at people.
Well, here's the thing, dude. She's going to spend a lot of time in hockey rinks. You better keep her away from the bench. Not only do they have colorful language, they have really interesting. Hockey has its own lingo.
Yep, like you skate like a bag of milk.
Right? Never. Like, what? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know where that one.
Put a bag of milk on a skate and see what it looks like.
Right. Oh, man.
You guys don't really know bag of milks. Have you ever used a bag of milk?
My milk usually comes in a plastic container.
Right? So like we have these little jugs that hold the bag. and then you slice the corner of the bag and pour it out. That's how it works. And it's not like the full amount. It's divided up in 3.
Nice.
But it's like a floppy bag.
Wow.
What?
No, I'm just being picky here at what I want to. We're on hockey. I mean, we could stick with sports. I found that the Major League Baseball. You don't follow much baseball, but the Major League Baseball draft was like a week ago, less than, and 4 first-round picks, or 4 or 6, quite a few. All of them, parents played in the major leagues as well. Their dads, which is kind of cool.
Hockey's kind of like that too, where you see a lot of like kids of stars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's always made me wonder.
It was 6, which is crazy.
Because you don't see usually many of them do really well.
Like, people automatically think, well, your dad was really great, you should be good too. That's not how genetics works. Like for real. I mean, like there are the few, like Bobby Orr. Apparently, your name is Bobby. Yeah. You play hockey, your kids are going to be amazing.
Unless you're my sister.
Is that Bobby with an I or a Bobby with a Y?
I.
Yeah, see, that's where it got
Bobby her. Joe.
Yeah, see, that's where it got her. Right in the eye. But because I think Bobby Orr played with all of his sons. He played for 50 years.
Yeah, I know Gordie Howe played with his son. They were on the same team.
Yeah.
Because then he played one of his last games against Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah. Yeah, so Matt Halliday, his son got drafted. And I don't know most of these guys, if any of them, but there were 6 of them. And it's pretty crazy that went in the first round. That means that they're top talents.
Well, the thing that I kind of always find weird is, you look at the NHL, you look at Major League Baseball, that kind of stuff. I guarantee you that there's people that are better, like a lot better, than some of the players that are playing in it, that just never had the opportunity to showcase it.
Yeah. Well, and you look at some of the world's greatest athletes, like in sports that are dependent on equipment. Basketball, not so dependent on equipment. Basketball is a little bit different. But baseball, hockey, football, these are all based on equipment. Like, as your equipment got better and easier to move in, I mean, you play high school football. I mean, it sucks, even in hockey pads. You put on an old set of hockey pads, like, how do people do things in these things, right? But you put on modern pads, you're like, I'm a 220-pound missile.
Yep.
And, it's crazy. And with hockey sticks especially, Wayne Gretzky's goal record, it's got a shot of being broken. I don't think it's going to get – I think Mesh is going to get close. I don't think he's going to break it. But he did that with a wood stick. Nobody, and I mean nobody in hockey right now uses a wood stick.
No, they're hard to use.
You can't aim with them. Like,
they're just heavy. They're like so the sticks that we use now are about 600 grams.
That's a heavy one.
And
quite honestly, now.
So that's measured in grams. When I did it, it was measured in pounds.
Right.
My stick, I think, was 4.5 pounds.
Right.
So I was swinging a 4.5 pound piece.
Which is funny because your player stick weighs more than my goalie stick.
Yeah, right.
Almost twice as much.
And that's what I was.
And probably had less flex than my goal stick.
Well, it didn't. You couldn't flex it.
No.
And I remember when some composite sticks were starting to come out, but they're really expensive. And the reason why, so in the NHL, you have to use a composite stick because wood sticks. I don't know how many guys I would like slam their stick down. It would snap their stick in.
Well, and the funniest thing is, how the curve in the stick came about, right? A dude accidentally slammed his stick in the door.
To the door and broke it.
And he had no choice. He had to play with it. And he's like, holy crap, I can put this anywhere. So he intentionally started doing it to all of his sticks. And eventually the league's like, okay, you can put a curve in your stick. But, I mean, he had his was bent like an L or even a J at times.
Well, it's weird. Now they don't really have a limit on the curve. If you watch some of the NHL players almost have ones that
I think there's a limit to the curve in the base, but you can curve the top of the toe.
It just can't enclose the puck.
Right.
So as long the puck has to be able to come out and it's under the ref's discretion, because I can't remember who it is, but I saw his stick, and it literally when he pointed at a guy, it looked like it was making a ring around his head.
Yeah. And I think that's a big thing in all sports where technology plays. I mean, you take the world's greatest players, and put them in modern times with modern technology. Like how great would they be now?
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the world's fastest runners in track, the records that they hold in track, then you put them in modern track shoes that weigh next to nothing.
Oh yeah, because I went from that big wooden stick, and I was 25 when I bought my first composite stick. I'd never picked one up. I've never played with them. I lived in an area where people couldn't afford them,
Mm-hmm.
and I went to a Costco, found one for $25 in Canada. I was like, oh, maybe this is worth a try now. I picked it up, and I thought I was going to spear it through the roof because I picked it up thinking it was going to be heavy, and I was like, what's going on? And then I tried to shoot with it, so I bought it. I took it back, and I brought my shooting pad to a baseball diamond, and on the pitcher's mound is where I'd set up my shooting pad and I'd shoot at the fence. And my first shot, I whiffed on it completely because I'm so used to, with the stick wood stick, you had to hit the puck like a golf ball.
Mm-hmm.
You had to hit the ball, and then it would carry it. Now you hit the ice, flex the stick, and slam it into the puck with
It creates that snap effect.
Yeah, like a slingshot. And it took me so long to figure that out. And it was like I had to learn all over again. So I still could hit the puck and I could shoot it, but I wasn't getting near what I was used to because I had to figure out that new. But technology with sports and stuff, it's going to be like, I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden we start seeing like skates that don't need ice.
Bauer just released their new goalie skates. They are
amazing.
I don't know what to think of them because they look like and I kid you not, they look like they look like they belong on rollerblades.
Really?
I got to look at what they're called. Oh, here they are. They're the Connect skates. They are meant to rotate at the ankle to allow for better push for goaltenders.
Oh.
But tell me that doesn't look like a boot for a rollerblade.
Yeah, it does.
There are no laces. It's all straps. They ratchet strap into place, which I can't believe hockey skates haven't done that yet.
Well, for goalies,
little teeny tiny kids, they have the little ratchets that they ratchet and tighten up.
Well, the difference would be a skater. If I had those, I'm more likely to get it busted because a puck's going to hit it. Where you have your pad blocking it, so It's perfect for a goalie, and then you don't have your lace to trip over.
Yeah. How many times have you seen it where a goalie's skate comes untied and he steps on his skate laces?
Oh yeah. Especially, I don't know how many times I've helped a goalie because he couldn't stand up.
Well, and now they have the blades that pop right out. Well, if you take a puck right to the blade, 8 times out of 10, it knocks the blade out, and you see a guy getting drugged back to his bench because his blade popped out. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But I don't know what those cost. I don't think I can afford them. But that's Bauer's new look at skate technology. Yeah, see, they have invented skates that don't require ice, but I think they require a special surface.
They're dry blades for.
You need to be on a certain type of surface.
You use the dry land. That stuff. For some reason, I can't think of the name of it. Like the stuff that I would buy to put in my backyard. You use that, and they don't really have edges, so you can't like stop and stuff. But they're good for skating and getting your legs prepared for the season.
Right. Well, so there's some sports news. That's kind of interesting. Oh, and there was another one in sports. Bill Walton. I don't know if you know who he is.
Nope.
Well, he was one of the original great basketball players. Bill think it's Bill Walton. He passed away at 88. Bill Russell. Bill Russell. Not Bill Walton. I don't know why I say Walton. But he was like the Jordan of his era. So,
that kind of brings me, since we're on sports, a little rant that I've been having.
Oh yeah.
I was kind of thinking about like Canada, the United States, and the United States has like football, and that's like a really big thing. Like when we're in Canada, we just know you guys, American football. That's like the biggest thing. And when you guys think of Canadians, think of hockey.
That's all you got.
Right. And Canada is starting to get to the point, at least recently, where watching women's hockey and watching the NHL are just as exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping it gets to the point where you can pick and choose and just be happy with either one. But I didn't know like what's going to happen down here, because I always find it weird that you talk to little boys playing football, and most of them go, "I want to be in the NFL." But little girls don't have that.
Right. My goal is we do the adult league is to grow. I want to grow hockey out of female. I want to grow hockey out on an overall level as well. But there are not enough girls. Like I see all the guys' wives sitting on the bench going, like, you could totally take him. I skate with that guy. But you could do it.
The big thing is you really think about it. Like you and I growing up, we could pretend we were in the NFL or the MLB.
Major League Baseball?
There we go, yeah. Or like the NHL, where like I talked to like my wife, she played rugby, basketball, volleyball, and she never imagined being in something like that because it wasn't an option. And it makes me think that that's why we have trouble now getting women to do sports, because they never had they can't.
Well, and the Major League Baseball just had their first female. I don't know if she fully managed the game, but she was an assistant manager.
Nice.
In a game. And I'm like, duh, about time. Like, what's taking so long? Like, why don't we have female? We have female owners in sports. Those aren't uncommon, but where are the female coaches?
Well, I mean, if they had a women's league like like Major League Baseball, to me, I don't feel like it would be much different than watching men's.
But you watch college softball, most of the coaches are men.
Yeah.
Not all, but most of them are men.
But I mean, I have a daughter, so like that's the thing that just constantly comes up. Like I think about that kind of stuff.
I put my daughter in anything and everything I can think of except for soccer because I hate roasting to death.
You don't want me to coach your daughter?
Yeah, right. Rachel Belovec, the first woman to manage an MLB affiliated team, took her home victory for the Tampa Bay Tarpons on Friday. So she's an affiliate for the New York Yankees. So like hockey, they have their minor leagues, and you can get called up at any time. And she managed an MLB affiliate team.
But I don't know, it was just kind of a thing that I was thinking about. Like, look at all the sports athletes that we have that people idolize.
Right.
And then think about who your daughter would idolize to make them want to get to that level.
Yeah. I mean, you got the Williams sisters in tennis. But think of outside of tennis. You're like, can you name a female hockey player? Professional female hockey player?
Real.
Right? You can because you love hockey. But your average citizen's going to go, I don't know. But you ask anyone, well, can you name one professional hockey player that you've ever heard of? Wayne Gretzky probably comes out. Basketball, it's going to be Michael Jordan. Football's got a list because it's our sport. Yeah. Let's face it.
Well, I mean, I'm just thinking of sports because you said tennis. Tennis is one where male and female, they both exist and that they both do well.
And honestly, it's an even playing field. The women have proven that over the years in tennis that they can kick the males' butts.
And then you've got soccer. Soccer is another one where they have they've had both, like the World Cup is for both male and female now. Golf is another one where they have women playing it. But I'm like, I try to think, like in Canada, we're just starting to get to the point. I remember watching women's hockey when it first came out, and I was like, I could beat those girls. Now I watch it and go, nope,
They cannot skate.
And it's because they're finally getting the opportunity to be trained
as
well.
And they want it more. Like those girls are out there going, I can do it just as good and better than my male counterpart.
But I don't know. To me, something's got to change to make it so that I want my daughter to watch a hockey game that's women playing professionally and go, I want to be like her.
Right.
Instead of, watching males play and say, I want to be like him, knowing that there's, it's not the same.
Yeah. And one thing that is women's professional hockey is growing. They have 6 or 8 teams.
Yeah.
And my biggest, and I have a beef with women's hockey. They're not allowed to check because a guy wrote the rules.
Yeah.
That's crap.
He thought that if they hit their, this is just what I was.
It's garbage.
That if they hit their chest too hard, it would hurt them.
It's garbage.
Yeah.
Absolute and utter garbage. Stop treating them differently. They don't want to be treated any differently.
I mean, I'm assuming some of our listeners have watched Waterboy. His mother, I would not want to hit me.
Right? Like, stop treating them differently. Like, why? Like, they're in combat sports. Your wife was a kickboxer.
Yep.
They know everything that can happen to them when they play the game, which is stupid because here, when girls play high school hockey, they can check.
Yeah, I don't.
The minute they go to college, they're not allowed to check anymore.
I don't know what the fear is of having women in power. I don't know what that fear is.
Because they would stay there.
Well, I mean, you know, it could always have to change and stuff, but like the thing for me is, I mean, I think of the power that women have over men.
Right.
And let's be honest.
They do.
They do.
Oh, God, yeah.
But for some reason, women don't use that against us when they need to.
Oh, mine does.
Well, mine maybe uses it against me, but I just mean in like general.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I feel like they could run the world, and all they'd have to do is just randomly be like, "Oh, would you mind if I sit in your chair?"
We actually, my wife and I had a conversation the other day because I don't remember what we're talking about, but we came across this. I don't know if you know who it is because it's more of an American thing, but when we went to war, when the men went to war, they needed somebody to work in the factories. Well, who'd they go get? The women. They had this big advertising campaign for a person called Rosie the Riveter.
Yeah.
Everybody's seen the picture. It's the girl flexing her muscles. Our country's foundation in the 1940s and 50s was built by women. They built tanks. They built airplanes. They built guns. They built everything because the guys were at war.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't go to war.
They could go as nurses, I think.
They wouldn't let the women in combat because they thought it would be too difficult for the men to see women get killed in combat.
Would really
And
if they used it against them, they would have had human shields.
Right? So, and we told this to Aurora that our country was quite literally built on and World War I because when we sent all the troops over there, but what did we do when they got back? Well, you got to go back to the kitchen. That's where you belong.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. People are weird. I just don't get it. I mean, I think that in my household, yes, there are some gender roles that we have, but it's because we want to.
You probably choose it that way, and that's just the way that works. But I fold laundry, I do dishes, I don't care. If the lawn needs to be mowed, the wife mows the lawn.
I got some brownie points the other day.
Did you use the vacuum cleaner?
No,
you have a Roomba.
So I got up, and my daughter wanted a peanut butter jam sandwich. So we're trying to get her to start making it herself, but I help her spread it because she's all over the place. And I was like, oh, there's no knives. I wonder if the dishes are clean. And I opened it up. I was like, yeah, the dishes are clean. So I got her a knife and I just put them all away.
Mm-hmm.
And then I closed it and I was sitting on the couch. Sammy came out and she's like, did you put the dishes away? I was like, yeah, it's no big deal.
It is a big deal, Barry, obviously, because she noticed and you probably haven't done it very often.
No, but I told her, I said, the way that it works for me is I never think. And I mean, I was in a very...
Well, I can vouch for that. You don't think.
I was in a very gender role household.
Oh, yeah.
So I never think about it. But if I see it, I will do it. So it just turned out
that's a male dominant trait, I think, that most men are that way. They're like, we don't intentionally dodge doing things like that. But it doesn't dawn on us until we actually like, oh.
I mean, that was like, what was it the other day? So it was raining. And I took down our like little tarp thing for our porch because it was going to get windy. I didn't want it to flap all over the place. And then I come inside and do stuff, and then Sammy's like, "Did you bring the cushions in?" I was like, "No." She's like, "Why wouldn't you have done that?" I was like, "Because I didn't even think about it." But there were some cushions out there, and they got wet. But I was like, I never intentionally do. Like, if I would have saw it, I would have been like, "Oh, maybe I should bring these in," but I didn't even register that they were there.
Right.
I'm such a male.
You are.
Yeah.
Just wait till you fold laundry.
Oh, I do. We do it together.
Oh.
It's gotten to the point where I'm kind of weird. I don't really do laundry that much because when I don't have it, that's when I do it.
Mm-hmm. You'll pick up a shirt and go,
yeah,
I can wear that again.
So I've done it randomly, but it's when that happens. But I've been trying to get better at least when she's folding laundry to help. And I think I'm getting better.
There you go.
I'm trying. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. You are not.
Oh, that's my mom.
Oh. You want some weird fun?
I love weird fun.
And it involves animals.
Okay.
Did you know pigs can breathe through their butt?
What?
Pigs can breathe through their butt. And so could you.
Really?
Really. So say scientists. The pink, fleshy, and round, the anus has a lot in common with the mouth and is every bit as important. But butts can also help animals breathe, new research suggests. A team of scholars in Japan has found that pigs can absorb oxygen through their anus in studies exploring treatment for people with respiratory conditions. By pumping oxygen and oxygenated liquid through animals' rectum, I'm not using the words they use, into their intestines, the researchers found that they could survive without breathing through their lungs.
You know, this is putting a whole new spin on the speaking through your butt content.
Right? It's crazy. You don't think that you absorb that through there, but you do.
You know, I knew
We need to insert a breathing tube. You're like, no.
I knew my butt was amazing. I didn't know it was that amazing.
Right? Can you imagine that? It's going to come to that, though. Which end would you like the breathing tube in? Would you like to be able to speak or breathe?
Well, that's ridiculous.
But
it is really cool to think of the random stuff.
Well, it just goes to show how amazing the body can be.
That's what I mean. For me, I just love science. Like everything that science comes out with, it's always so. Like to be a scientist, you have to be. I feel like slightly crazy.
You have to think weird.
Yeah.
Like who thought of that to begin with? Well, you know.
Yeah. Because you just got to be one of those people that is like, looks at a brick and then goes, I bet you I can do something else with that. You're just building stuff with it? Let me make it so that now it's indestructible.
Well, I mean, think about it. The lungs don't work any differently. You inhale oxygen, and the oxygen gets absorbed into the vessels and everything in your lungs.
But the thing is we do, because it goes in as oxygen, and then it creates the carbon dioxide to push out.
Well, I think your body absorbs the oxygen, so all that's left is carbon dioxide. We don't actually create it. It's just...
Well, it's because it goes through the blood and then transfers, but then we have our bronchioles. So.
Yeah. So
I think
that's all science.
Science. I mean, I took human anatomy for one class, so I'm trying to remember off the seat.
Did you ever know that you could breathe through your butt? I know you talk out of it.
I push enough oxygen out of it that I think I do.
That's not oxygen, dude. That's methane. But that's crazy. Like you can...
Because I don't know if other people have this problem that I do, that if I have anything spicy, I seem to build up more methane.
It could be, yeah.
So that's how I can tell, even if it's not hot, there's something spicy.
Barry, you eating spicy again? No.
So most people, it's beans with this spice.
Right.
You knew it was going to go to fart stuff.
Oh, it had
Everybody had to.
Everybody had to know it was going to fart jokes. Oh, did you know that the Earth just had its shortest day ever recorded?
That's because a piece of the flat part fell off.
No. On June 29th, 2022, something extraordinary happened to the rate of the spin of the planet Earth. However, it probably had such a minuscule impact on your life that you didn't even notice. But believe it or not, you actually gained an extra 1.59 milliseconds to your day.
I knew it. I was feeling weird the other day.
Right? Like, the day just felt longer.
Does that mean that I'm slightly younger than I should be?
But why? On that day, our planet, as far as scientists can tell, set a new record for the quickest time to complete one rotation. In other words, while you received 24 hours that day, you only spent 24 hours less, 1.59 milliseconds. Bargain. But what isn't the Earth's day actually 24 hours? No. The day. The first thing to note is that there are actually different kinds of days depending on your definition. The first, a solar day, is a period of 24 hours during which the Earth rotates so that the sun appears at the same location in the sky. However, a sidereal day, which is defined as 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 4.091 seconds, is the time it takes for the Earth to complete one full rotation on its axis with respect to the distant stars. Given these known times, we can actually calculate the speed at which the Earth is spinning. To do this, we need our planet's circumference, and that's a lot of math. Wow.
That's why we have scientists.
Right. But what a lot of people don't know is that, yes, we are round. We are not perfectly round. We stretch and spin, and because we're spinning at, we're spinning at like the Earth rotates at the equator of 1,038 miles an hour. Now, flat earthers will be like, why can't you feel this? Because you're used to it.
I feel it every day.
Yeah. You give me a few beer and I'm like, oh, I feel the world spinning.
I went outside today and I was like, I'm tired from all this movement.
but because of physics, you spin faster at the poles.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, man, do you think if we got up to the poles and just stood at the very top of the pole that you get dizzy?
Maybe.
It's a goal. We have a goal now. Let's put it on our bucket list.
But up until recently, it was believed that the Earth's rotation was slowing down. But apparently not.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, spinsies.
Mm-hmm. That's why some days I feel dizzy.
You spin me right. Oh. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, you just sang on the radio.
I did.
I think we lost a viewer.
Probably more than one. Probably a couple of listeners too.
No, I don't know. I think it's pretty cool when we learn about stuff and
stuff that you don't even realize. Like,
I don't like it. Like, so, like you tell me something like that, and in my brain, I'm like, "There's no way we're moving that quick," but I don't fight it.
We're also hurtling through space.
Yeah.
Right.
But, I don't like fight it. There's some people where you tell them that they're like, "There's no way," because like, look, and they have to be very defensive about it. But for me, it's like, does it affect my daily life? No.
It did. You lost or you gained an extra minute.
Well, yeah,
milliseconds.
But you know what I mean? Like, if it doesn't actually really affect me horribly, why worry about it? Just enjoy that it might be true.
Right. Yeah. Well, and we make fun of flat earthers a lot.
What?
My bid. If they came to me with something plausible, with some evidence, but the problem with their evidence is they keep proving it wrong.
Yeah, they prove themselves wrong.
Exactly, and they're like, "Well, no, we got to go try again." Well, yeah, but that's the definition of insanity, right? You tried to make a point, which is science in a nutshell. You're like, "I have an idea." Well, let's see if my idea works. So it's a hypothesis. So now let's test our hypothesis. Well, here's what the information tells me. Well, I guess it's not true. But you move on.
Like, I've had people come up to me. So, my family is in, my wife's a professor. So, I've had people come up to me and they tell me stuff. And I'm like, oh, well, is there peer-reviewed articles about this? Or is it just something from Facebook?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it... And they're like, oh, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, well, where's the article? And sometimes you'll find one.
Yeah.
But then I look at them and I'm going, okay, you've got a plumber that you want to hire. He's got one review. that's positive, and that's it. And then you have another plumber that has 180 good reviews and no negative. What plumber you go with?
Right.
You're probably going to go with the one with the more. I was like, so why is it when it comes to like scientific information, do people go, oh no, there's a couple peer-reviewed articles that support this, but there's like thousands that don't.
Right.
And I don't understand that argument in my head, because if I did that with like a plumber or like an electrician or something, everybody goes on the internet and hires somebody and looks at the reviews.
Food reviews are a big one.
Yeah. And I mean, so if a place had one review that said burgers were pretty good, but then this other one had like thousands that said all these good things about it, you're probably going to go check that one out. But when it comes to information, they don't do that. They just go, no, this one feels good to me, so that's the one.
It's easier for them. It's easier to agree with a lie than it is the truth, because most lies are they're pretty easy to understand. Like, it makes sense.
Yep. Well, that's why I was talking with a guy the other day.
Truth a lot of times is complicated.
And he said that the United States military won the war, and I was like, no, the civilians did. And he's like, what? No. And I was like, well, technically, because everyone went over there, it wasn't going so well, so they had to conscript. What it is?
You're getting there.
Yeah, something like that. Because Canada did it too, and they just had to hire regular civilians and make them join the military. Mm-hmm. And I was like, they did not have the same training that every normal, like what you would consider military now. Because a lot of the people that are in the military now have had lots of training. World War I and II.
You were drafted. You were a dude. You went to base. You went to boot camp for 2 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever it was, and then you got sent over.
No, that was not enough to get proper training. So it was regular people.
And that's in any war. Like you go into training. You cannot train for war without being in war.
And like, look at the stuff going on in Ukraine. Like, aside all the politics of it, it is now civilians keeping their country.
Civilians basically were won every war. I mean, you go back all the way to the Revolutionary War or even before. You know, it was the civilian populations that do it. So,
but it's just, to me, it's kind of cool. Like, yes, it was still the military because they became part of it, but it's just really cool when you think about civilians are the ones that, in the end, help come through and make things possible. So it's like the little guy.
Mm-hmm. Forget the big guy. The guy sucks. So if I ran across a cool story and I didn't save it, I should have, but I read it and I remember most of it. What do you know about King Tut?
King Tut. I know the name.
Yeah. And you don't know anything other than the name?
Off the top of my head, no, but I know he was a king.
He was a king, right?
Yeah.
There's evidence that supports now he wasn't a he at all.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool.
So,
Queen Tut.
When pharaohs were buried, when they dug their tombs, they dug down, and to their burial chamber, you always took a left. Left was the symbol of masculinity in Egyptian culture. One guy noticed when they were filming a documentary about King Tut that when you went down and went to the entrance of his tomb, you took a right. There's only one other documented case where this happens, where you take a right to go into a pharaoh's tomb, and it's to another female. I can't say her name.
That would change a whole lot of movies.
But the thing is like he was 10, they were between 10 and 15. Really died of a toothache. Go to the dentist, people.
I mean, I've been there. Toothaches are rough.
Yeah. So what they're pretty sure happened with King Tut is that they got a bad infection and it traveled to their blood and they got blood poisoning and it killed them. Mm-hmm. But the fact that King Tut and their death mask, they're finding noticeably female features on the death mask. So King Tut could have in fact been a male. Female. Yeah. See? It's ingrained in you. Now, they can't, they haven't outright proven it, but it's an interesting thing. Like, this has only happened one other time where when you go down into the burial tomb and you take a right. All other pharaohs, you take a left. Because it's a symbol for masculinity. And if anybody was by the books, it was the Egyptians. They did everything. And in fact, they tried to, like, if they didn't like a pharaoh, they were wiped out of history. You couldn't. They literally got rid of everything,
Yeah.
and they did stuff the hard way.
And
They made
since-
mountains out of boulders from hundreds of miles away.
I still think it's cool that there's one pharaoh that has a silver coffin,
Right.
and that's because during that time, silver was the hardest material to come by.
Mm-hmm.
So that was showing his wealth with making a silver one. Right now, you'd be like, well, why? Like, this is the poor man's.
It's because how we value.
Yeah, well, back then, it was hard to get it shipped. There wasn't as many trade routes. So,
Yep.
can you imagine if we couldn't get gold here? If you brought a piece, people would be like, billions of dollars.
Billions. I tell you, billions. But that's kind of cool. I thought that was kind of neat. I was like, wow. I don't know what draws me to stuff like that. Like, I could sit down and watch the History Channel. It drives my wife crazy. She's like, are you not asleep yet? I'm like, give me 10 minutes. But, yeah.
Yeah, I like documentaries.
Right? Ooh, you want a bombshell on a possible conspiracy?
Yep.
Loch Ness, baby.
Mm,
Right?
it's a sub.
Could be. Creature's existence is now plausible after major fossil discovery. Right? So, they have found in an ancient riverbed. I gotta wait for it to load. The University of Bath. Well, that's my kind of university. You just hang out in a tub all day?
Yeah.
I don't know where that is. But anyway, have found fossils of small plesiosaurs in a 100-million-year-old river system that is now in Morocco's Sahara Desert, suggesting they lived in fresh water. That was one of the biggest knocks on the Loch Ness. Like, it's a plesiosaur. They have to survive in salt water. Not true.
I mean, Loch Ness is so deep that they can't get so.
And it's dirty.
Yeah.
Like, it's a dirty lake.
And I mean, there's always been a side of me that. So there's areas underground that they found that can hold plant life and whatnot.
I told you about that 4 billion-year-old lake they found in Canada, right? Remember
Yeah.
the world's oldest waters in Canada? It's probably got life in it somewhere. I mean, that's just the way nature works.
Yep. And I mean, who knows? Maybe it's like Journey to the Center of Earth.
Yeah.
Or there is like
Hollow Earth
dinosaurs.
theory? I don't think so.
There's some dinosaurs down there. Maybe a Loch Ness swam up.
Right?
Yeah. Or it's just,
I like Jeff Goldblum's theory better. Life just finds a way. But that's cool. Like, they found 100-million-year-old plesiosaur remains in an ancient freshwater rivers.
Kind of makes you wonder, like, what would be so bad with going, yeah, it exists. It's in there. There's never been an attack, so what's the worry about?
Right. It hasn't taken anybody that we know of.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I think Loch Ness is one of those lakes where you really don't want to swim in it because it's really cold and really deep.
And there's a bloodthirsty
Plesiosaur in it.
that eats plants.
I think plesiosaurs ate fish.
Don't they?
Yes.
So they'll eat people. Remember that. Just don't wear flippers.
Oh.
Get those mermaid tails. Oh, that's what I'll get you for your birthday.
What?
I'm going to get you one of those suits that you put on to make sure it looks like you're a mermaid.
My daughter would be very happy at that.
No, it'll fit you, though.
I
It's
know.
too big for her.
I know, but should we be mermaids together?
Merman.
Mermen.
Merman.
There's a theory that those things exist too, right?
Yeah, and Atlantis.
Right.
It's the Little Mermaid.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we went from Loch Ness Monster to Little Mermaid.
Well, are there any? I mean, we probably got some Star Trek fans out there. You ever watch Star Trek other than the new ones?
Yes.
Did you actually watch Star Trek, like the original William Shatner Star Trek?
Yeah, he's Canadian. Why wouldn't I have?
I'm just asking because just because he's Canadian doesn't mean you have to like the guy. Will Ferrell's American, and I can't stand that guy.
Got to.
Actress Nichelle Nichols, star in Star Trek's Trailblazing Uhura, died at 89. Her and William Shatner shared the first interracial on-screen kiss.
Oh,
Groundbreaking in the 1960s, man. I'm telling you, crazy.
that's weird to think about.
Right? Like, you like, so? But back then, it's like, whoa, no, you're not watching this stuff. Like, why? And that's how people were.
People still like
Some people like that, yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. I don't like watching anybody kiss.
It's awkward. It's weird.
Yeah, my daughter's getting to the point now that whenever my wife and I kiss, she's like, "You're not supposed to do that."
Oh, Aurora does go, are you guys kissing again?
She's like, I'm like, why? Why aren't we supposed to do this? It shows that we love each other. And she's like, I know, but I don't need to see it.
She's right. But, yeah. That's a quick one. Check it out. After 100 years of trying, I don't know why, this I've never understood this. Why people eat pufferfish? Because it can kill you, right?
If you cut it wrong.
They have found a way to create pufferfish neurotoxin. So if you screw up, you're okay.
We're doing it.
They're like, you can eat this if we cut this the right way, and in 100 years, we'll make sure it doesn't kill you because we'll have the fix.
I want to know who figured out the right way to cut it and how many mistakes were made along the way.
Bill, you're up. It was the one really smart dude. He's like, I really want to eat one of these. So he got his dumb buddies.
Mm-hmm. He's like, hey, you should try this. It's really good. No, not that piece.
Not that one. Too thin? Too thin. Yeah.
And then you get a couple. When you're getting closer to the right one, they're like, "Oh, I feel sick." They're like, "All right, I was getting close."
Yeah, getting right way.
They're not dying.
You
now.
look over. It took them longer to die.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Like, some of that stuff is just baffled me. I like who looks like. I don't even know if this is a thing. Do people eat skunks?
Probably.
Right, but who looks at something that does something smelly like that and goes, "You know what? Let's try it."
I've heard they make really good pets. And let's face it, anything that can do a handstand is sweet. I mean, take a look at those things doing a handstand. That's awesome.
I'm looking up skunk meat now. I want to see.
How to prepare it?
Oh, skunk meat is safe to eat as long as you take the time to remove the small bacteria-filled bag.
The glands, yeah.
So
the
it's
butt.
just-
Don't eat the meat around the butt.
You gotta do
Ew.
it before you're cooking the meat.
Well, we're on the thing of being poisoned to death. Why not? I found one right before I came here. That's pretty fun. It's not fun. Apparently, chugging a pound of mercury, it's okay. You can chug a pound of mercury and be fine. In 2016, a 3-year-old child in Libya drank 750 grams or 1.5 pounds of mercury. His uncle kept the substance in a home since he worked in the silver processing. The kid found it stored there and drank just about the whole bottle, which is about 1/3 the size of a juice box. Now, I realize kids will eat and try just about anything, but once it tastes bad, that's where I stop. I'm like, ugh.
Have you ever tasted mercury? It might taste like candy.
It might taste like metal.
Yeah, I'm not tasting it to find out.
I don't know. It's cool looking, though. I ain't gonna lie. His family rushed him to a clinic, which gave him penicillin, an antibacterial, which I'm pretty sure won't work. Oh, look at that! According to the story, it didn't work. So they took him to a different hospital, and they're like, "No, that wouldn't work." They just gave him a whole bunch of laxatives and kept X-raying him and noticing that since mercury is so slippery and liquidy, it only likes to stick to itself. It would pass right through. The only issue you would have is if you had lesions or cuts in your intestinal wall where the mercury could leach into your bloodstream, and then you're in for a really, 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 really bad day.
Well, apparently, mercury tastes like metal.
Do you like the metal?
It says heavy metal materials such as mercury have a metallic taste.
Really?
Well, some of the salts of the lead and beryllium are sweet. So like lead and beryllium can be sweet to the taste. But mercury apparently has a metallic taste. That was another job that was offered, where it was test chemicals and see what they taste like.
Well, think about it. You ever hear of the death clocks?
No.
It was a process of making clocks in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and they were called death clocks because they used mercury to help separate the gold. It's one way to separate gold from its ore is to use mercury. And they couldn't figure out why all their workers were getting sick all the time.
I don't know.
Apparently, they were all dying of heavy metal poisoning from the mercury.
I don't know why, but as soon as you said dying of heavy metal, I was like, yeah!
Die of heavy metal, let's roll. Yeah, death clocks.
Who's got like Metallica or something playing in their shop.
But yeah, you're okay if you accidentally chug a whole bunch of mercury. It should stay together. You're just gonna have to take a bunch of laxatives and hope to God you don't have any lesions in your intestines or anything like that.
Well, I mean, I feel like at the age we are, it wouldn't be a good idea. I'm
No.
sure we have some cuts in our tummies.
Because it is found that you can, and the kid did absorb a tiny, tiny amount of mercury. It wasn't enough to poison him or hurt him any. Because let's face it, at any given moment, you do have small amounts of lead, copper, and zinc, magnesium. You have small amounts of metal in your blood anyway, but it's very, very small amounts.
I just kind of thought about, I was kind of looking at things going back on the internet here. If somebody ever looked at our internet history, they would be messed up. Like, who looks up skunk meat? And then, does mercury taste good?
See, if you saute the skunk meat in mercury, the poisons,
Well, back, like we've got skunk a la king.
Yeah.
Oh, roadkill helper. I think these are joke things.
Right.
But I don't know, like with the skunk stuff and like the fish. I don't know. I don't know who thought, hey, let's eat this.
Right. Well, all I can say is if I'm stuck in the boonies, trapped, got into a plane crash, whatever, and I need to eat something, I'm going to cut its butt off, and I'll just eat the front.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was the rugby team, like everyone knows the story of that rugby team that crashed.
Nope.
And
I don't.
You know the story of the people that crashed in the cold mountains there? And
That was a rugby team?
Yeah, it was a rugby team.
Oh. They made a movie about it called Alive, where they eat each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I might freeze to death.
But yeah, that was a rugby team, and they survived, I think it was 68 days because they ate the people that had died.
Not all of them survived, let's be honest.
Well, no, the ones that survived the crash survived by eating.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was one of those things, like, I bet you, do you know how weird that would be? Like, I'm not going to lie to you. If we crashed and...
You'd eat me?
Well, if your leg was, like, blown off.
Oh, I don't know if I could.
I'd saute it.
I don't know if I could.
I'd probably do it that night.
I don't know if I could gnaw on my own leg.
I wouldn't tell you. I'd say it was Jim's.
But dude, I know what my leg looks like.
No.
Don't worry about it. It feels like we didn't come here with a Phil. Yeah, we did. Phil was just standing here, and I did come across a story. I didn't do anything with it, but a lady apparently said she caught Bigfoot this week on trail camera. It's very blurry, out of focus.
Always blurry.
With technology these days,
there is a movie.
You can take a picture of a mouse from space, but we can't get a clear photo of Sasquatch.
Yeah, right.
I mean, come on. Have you seen the backup cam in my car? That thing's high def.
Oh, what is the name of that movie?
I don't know. What movie is it?
It's a new one out where so this guy looks at a cloud in the sky, and it's made by it's like the Key and Peele guy. I don't know why I can't think of his. But he made a movie, and it looks somewhat comical and scary at the same time. So a farmer goes out, sees this cloud in the sky, and notices that it's not really moving, but all the other clouds are, and keeps noticing it, and then eventually realizes that it's an alien spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
So they go, we're going to make money, and we're going to buy all this equipment to finally film a spaceship and have it good quality so people can't deny it. Oh, Jordan Peele is the writer and the director. And so what happens is the aliens don't like it, but they're trying to catch them. So then there's this it's like a huge battle between the two. And I do remember in one scene, they're like in the house and you can tell the ship's above them, and then it just dumps a whole bunch of blood on their house. And they're just like, what's going on? And I'm pretty interested in seeing what it is. I think it's in theaters now, but it looked very interesting because you never see a movie about trying to make sure they're like real.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually like something happens and nobody believes them, but in this one it's like
it sounds like Chicken Little.
Kinda, yeah, but with a twist because people die.
And no talking animals.
I don't know yet.
Ooh.
I haven't seen it.
Well, you do know Sasquatch is a spy for the aliens.
Now it's all coming together.
Mm-hmm. That's why you can't get a clear photo of him. He's blurry. And have you ever walked into a room and completely forgot why you went in there?
Oh, like every day.
Yeah. You know why that is? Because you've come into contact with an alien and he wiped your memory.
It's usually when my wife's in the room.
Exactly. You've come into contact with an alien. They wiped your memory.
I wish I had that power.
Right. What'd you come in here for? Nothing. How did you?
Well, it's 4 o'clock.
It is 4 o'clock.
I will not be here next week.
What?
I'm at a hockey tournament.
Not until 3 o'clock.
Yeah, if we end up playing, the last game's at 11. So there's a chance that I won't be here. Just letting everyone know.
It's all right. My back hurts anyway.
For what?
Carrying
Falling?
this show.
From falling?
Carrying this show.
Oh, I thought it was maybe from like weeding or something.
No, I spent all the whole weekend on a tube on a lake.
That's probably why your back hurts. You're stuck in the tube.
No, I didn't get stuck in the tube.
Yeah, I bet you. But you've been listening to Average Rants here at KNMC
90.1
FM.